We are entering a new moon that arrives at the depth of winter, a time when people feel tired and tender and quietly stretched. And this isn't just a personal fatigue, it's a weight of caring in a world that feels complex and unstable and often overwhelming. And you might notice yourself oscillating between wanting to help and wanting to withdraw, and wondering whether anything you do is ever enough. And if that's present for you, you are not failing. You are responding honestly to the conditions of this time. And this new moon doesn't ask us to resolve this tension. It asks us to meet it with a different kind of listening. So the rune shaping this cycle is Eihwaz. And Eihwaz is often translated as endurance, but not in the sense of gritting your teeth or of pushing through. Eihwaz carries the intelligence of the yew tree, long-lived and adaptable, rooted at thresholds, holding life and death in balance. And this is endurance that lasts because it stays in relationship with what sustains life rather than trying to dominate it or to outpace it. So Eihwaz teaches that strength is not created through force, but through careful tending of the conditions that allow life to continue. And that distinction matters really deeply this month. So what's striking about this new moon is that several of the great chariots move through Eihwaz at this time. Suna's chariot, Odin's chariot and Frigg's chariot, they all travel this terrain every single year. And there is something therefore familiar about that rhythm of a seasonal invitation to slow and to adapt and to endure. But this cycle carries a sharper edge because Tyr's chariot, the Roman equivalent being Mars, is also moving through Eihwaz at this time. So this brings the question of endurance out of the abstract and into the realm of choice and action. So Tyr doesn't ask us to endure passively. He asks where we're willing to act with integrity, even when that action is quiet and constrained. Now, this is not about struggle or heroics. It's about intentionally placing boundaries around what sustains you, around your time, your energy, and your spiritual nourishment. So endurance in this cycle is not something that simply happens to you. It is something you participate in through deliberate, often sort of modest, small choices. And if you feel a pull to simplify, to withdraw from what drains you, or to become more precise about where your effort goes, that is Tyr's chariot at work within Eihwaz. So midway through the cycle, after the new moon in Jera, we meet a full moon in Fehu. And Fehu speaks to resources, not only material wealth, but vitality and warmth and nourishment and the energy that allows life to continue. So this full moon is not asking us to measure our worth or to prove our productivity. It asks a quieter, more honest question. What is genuinely feeding you and what is quietly draining you? And in the northern tradition, Fehu is carried by Audhumla, the primal cow, the first mother whose nourishment sustained the early gods and brought life into being. And Audhumla doesn't ever strive to accumulate. She feeds by being what she is. And this full moon carries that same intelligence. It offers support rather than demand, reminding us that what we tend to with vital care, when we do this, the runes themselves meet us with nourishment. When we act, they respond. So if you feel drawn to explore this kind of nourishment in shared ritual, then Winter Nights offers a space shared by the old mother's mysteries, the Anglo-Saxon mother's nights and the Norse Disablot, where sustenance and belonging and ancestral care are tended gently through the dark. And alongside this, we are also crossing a larger threshold. So the long labour of the Jera cycle and the Eihwaz cycle are completing, and the Perthro cycle is beginning through the course of this lunar cycle. And this doesn't mean that the pattern will reveal itself all at once, because Perthro Rune of Mystery rarely works this way, but what it does suggest is that older stories, particularly those rooted in ancestry and long memory and karmic return, may begin to stir again, asking to be met with patience rather than urgency. This is a way of listening. So as you move through this lunar cycle, you might gently notice that where you've endured, not by pushing harder, but by staying in relationship with yourself and with others and with the land and with meanings, where has this happened for you? And where might endurance now be asking for rest and nourishment or a clearer boundary? And you don't need to answer these questions right now. Simply just let them accompany you through the course of this cycle, because that's the wisdom that's there waiting for you. This new moon reminds us that spiritual care is something that we tend to, something that we build, and it's something that we return to. So remember, as always, take what you need from this cycle, leave the rest. Endurance grows quietly when we tend to what sustains us.